Welcome to the HohO Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from Weaponized Sloth Production Studio B. Welcome to the HohO Show, and as always, I'm your host, HohO. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. Man, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We really do. I know I'm a day late. I wasn't even in state yesterday at this time, and so, of course, I wasn't able to do the show. But we still got to do this because, man, there's so much stuff to talk about. You know, just like last week. You know, there's just so much going on. The news has been absolutely full. The news cycle, absolutely full. So much stuff going on. Elon Musk and Doge. We've got another Trump impeachment that hopefully doesn't go anywhere. But you know, who knows with the Rhino Republicans. And let's see what else we're going to be talking about today. What may be next on the chopping block, Department of Education. We're going to be talking about tariffs. We're going to be talking about immigration, of course, you know, because got to be talking about immigration. And let's see, what's another one? Oh, yeah. But first, we're going to start right here with the left's new stance on the January 6th insurrection? Was it an insurrection? Really? I mean, no, but let's go ahead and start there. Now, you all know how I like to start the show. I like to start it with a little, you know, lightheartedness, a little bit of ha-ha, a little bit of funny, and my go-to place for satire news is the Babylon Bee because it's you know, satire with a purpose. And this first one, I had to laugh. I really did. I really didn't read the article. This one is more for the headline. And boy, howdy, does it ever have that ring of truth to it? You know what I mean? It's got that ring of truth. Because why else would they be slowing down the process? Why else would they be doing this? But here we go with this headline. From the Babylon Bee, Democrats delay Kash Patel vote as FBI hasn't finished shredding all their documents. Oh, goodness gracious. That just cracked me up. It really did. And you know, doesn't it have that ring of truth? Maybe that they are trying to hold up the process is because they haven't been able to completely get rid of all the stuff that they don't want the Trump administration to find out about. It does seem to hold that ring of truth, or at least it does to me. I think that sounds pretty accurate. It does. It sounds pretty accurate. Moving on. Now this next one is where we're going to start with the left's new take on the January 6th riots, and this one again is from the Babylon Bee. Nation asks if that security guy can please just follow Congress around and keep them from doing anything ever. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, you know, there was where was this at? This was at some public building. Where did this take place? You know, I don't even remember now. Department of Education, or it was USAID. I don't actually remember anymore. I really don't. But it comes from, yes, it was the Department of Education. That's where it came from. But yes, the new take. All right, because if you guys listened to this video, or if you heard any of the sound bites from it, then you may have an idea of what was going on here. You had Maxine Waters that was kind of heading up a group of people that was demanding access to Department of Education. A security guard made sure that they didn't get in, not allowing them access. And the argument was, we're citizens, and this is a public building which our tax dollars are paying for, then you need to allow us access because this is a public building. And of which case my immediate response was, wait a second. So is this your new take on the January 6th riots? Is this your new take on, whether people should or should not be, punished for walking into a public building? Because let's be honest, that's exactly what happened on January 6th. You had people whom the Democrats said weren't supposed to have access who gained entry. So is this their new take on January 6th? I mean, wait a second. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't demand that citizens can have access and are supposed to have access, and you can't refuse access to government buildings at the same time saying that everybody involved with January 6th should be punished to the fullest extent and beyond of the law. You can't say that. You can't have both stances simultaneously. But here we go. Another example of the hypocrisy that comes out of the Democrat Party. Because that's exactly what Maxine Waters was talking about here. She was saying that because she is a citizen, and that being a building paid for by tax dollars, that they have every right to have access. Now, mind you, what this, this goes deeper than that, though, doesn't it? It really does. It goes deeper than that, because what the left is angry about is what is going on with Doge. They are angry with Elon Musk and his team uncovering fraud, waste, and abuse. I mean, that's what Doge has been tasked with finding, the Department of Government Efficiency. They're tasked with locating fraud, waste, and abuse. That's exactly what they're there for. And now, before you state the argument that, yes, there's already an agency that is supposed to be doing this. Yeah, you're right. There is an agency that is supposed to be doing that. Unfortunately, they're not. We've been complaining for years about the fraud, waste, and abuse coming out of government. But unfortunately, we haven't seen anything come out of that. We haven't seen any accountability. We haven't seen any, what's the word I'm looking for? No accountability, nobody being held to account. We're not seeing anything come out of it whatsoever. We're not seeing any changes in the spending practice of Washington. We haven't seen any of that. Not to mention that we have, it's okay, look, but before I get too far into this, and of course, one of the things I'm talking about is USAID. And it seems as though the left is more concerned about the information that has been uncovered by Doge rather than the corruption that's been uncovered. And that to me just seems backwards. But isn't that just par and partial to, what the left does? I mean, we've all known for years that there's been a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse coming out of Washington. We've all known that, in a lot of different cases, what we have is a money laundering coming out of D.C. That's what we know. And especially considering that like 90+% of everybody in D.C. are Democrats, it basically amounts to organizations in government that their only job is money laundering. Their only job is, to give kickbacks, provide kickbacks to promote a narrative. All these things are true. And we've known this for years. I wrote an article, and it's not an in-depth article. I mean, it's nothing like that. It's just, more or less some points regarding, the Doge and regarding the fraud that has been, put out there. And you can find that article over on my Substack. And of course, all the articles that I'm using in the show, you can find that over at, go over to the HoHoShow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, and then you'll see the article on Flipboard. It is with today's date and title of, what is the title? Hold on, let me look. What is USAID? And also something that's pretty important to note too, is most people, and I know I've been guilty of this too, so I mean, I'm definitely pointing that finger back at myself, but most people want to say USAID. The problem is USAID has absolutely nothing to do with providing aid. That's not what it is. That's not what they do. I mean, that may have been the original intent, and of which case, yeah, we'll get into that here in a minute. You know what? Let me write that down because, this is important, and I definitely want to bring this up. Let's see. Okay. Wow, I can't write for crap. There we go. Okay. So that is something that I want to talk about. I had to write that down because I don't want to forget. Holy crap. Okay, so there we go. Where was I? Holy cow, I totally just lost my train of thought because I had to write that down. Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with aid. What USAID actually stands for is the United States Agency of International Development. That's what it is. But what Elon Musk and his team over at Doge has been finding out, has been uncovering, and they went in there like a wrecking ball, man, didn't they? They went in there like a wrecking ball. They went in there having full intent of just uncovering everything that they can. And here's the thing, okay? One of the things I've been hearing a lot of people being angry about is, Elon Musk and his team having access to, private information, and of which case, look, the government already has access to all this stuff. And Elon Musk, let's just put it this way, he is the right person for the job, isn't he? I mean, he truly is the right person for the job. This guy is a multi-billionaire. He is the richest person on the planet. He can't be bought. He can't be negotiated with. He has a love for this country that is deeper than anything I have ever seen, minus a handful of people. And he's somebody who wasn't even born in the United States of America. And you know what? You really do see that quite often, don't you? People who are foreigners who come over here for the American dream, they're the ones who have a far deeper respect and love for this country and what it stands for than what native-born citizens are. It's kind of sad, isn't it? But we see this quite often. We really do. I mean, it amazes me how, people who go through the actual immigration process to become naturalized citizens, how these people seem to have a far greater understanding of the Constitution than what native-born citizens do that go through the Department of Education and get taught this in schools. And it really shouldn't be any surprise. I mean, I know it's no surprise to me, but it really shouldn't be any surprise to people. But back to the point. Elon Musk is the perfect man for the job. He really is. Because he can't be bought. He has a love for this country. He wants to see America restored to, now look, okay, I know that in our founding, even in our founding, our nation had issues. I know that it did. But what is most important about us is our principles that made America great. And that's what Donald Trump and Doge wants to try to bring back. It's the original founding principles. Because even though we may have had some screwed up things in our past, the intention was still to be, to not have those issues. That's right. Why they wrote the Constitution in the way that they did. That's why they put different things in there. It was to make it easier for us to come out of those. So maybe it's not exactly the highlight of the past, but it's to bring back what it is we stood for. because we've always stood for that. Even whenever we had slavery, we wanted something better, or at least our founding fathers did. They wanted something better. They wanted everybody to be considered equal, equality under the law. That's what we stood for. But anyway, he can't be bought. And really, as far as the left is concerned, he can't even be reasoned with. He's not going to be negotiated with. You're not going to buy him. That's why Elon Musk is the best person for the job. He can't be bought. He's not going to be dissuaded from his purpose. He volunteered for this. He's not even getting paid to do it. You know, and I've seen something that truly does, it screams of his devotion to what it is that he's doing. Elon Musk. A picture of him where he's in a sleeping bag, sleeping. He didn't go home. He didn't go to a hotel room. He was there on site with his team that was going through the books. That's a man dedicated right there. That screams to me just how dedicated he truly is to do the job that he set out to do. To root out waste, fraud, and abuse. But here we have out of the left, you know, they're more concerned that Elon Musk is the one finding out all these things. And really what they're afraid of is that they're going to find out all the deep, dark secrets, everything that the left has been doing for years. And that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's happening. You have all kinds of pushback. You have the left screaming in rage because of this. Oh yeah, we got some things that I need to talk about right quick with the whole January 6th thing, and I apologize. I kind of screwed up on the segment a little bit, but you know what? That's okay. One of the things in here with the January 6th stuff, okay, this headline from USA Today, and again, I apologize. It happens. It's live. It happens. Judge orders overnight pause on potential naming of January 6 FBI agents. That was one of the things that came up in the news, is that, you know, they wanted to release all the people whom, you know, in the FBI that participated in this, that had a hand in this, because they might not have had the best of intentions in mind. This headline from, oh, wait, nope. Well, that's the same one. But what you also seen after the fact was that the FBI handed over 5,000 agent names who worked January 6th. These are all the people who touched this investigation, all the people who had a hand in this investigation. And the 5,000 agents, this makes up okay, I don't quite remember the number. I think it was right around 40% of all the agents in the FBI. That's how many people touched this case, and of which case, that's, holy crap, that's ridiculous, isn't it? That is absolutely ridiculous. The 40% of the FBI agents touched the January 6th investigation. Why? They have still yet to release so much information on this. They've yet to release the communications, the documents. You know, the House Judiciary demands communications, documents from Fulton County cooperation with the January 6th probe. We're trying to find out just how deep the rabbit hole goes, because we already know, due to the investigation that that they've already done in Congress, that yes, there were agents on the ground. Yes, there were agents in the crowd. We already know this. We also know this from Dan Bongino, host of the Dan Bongino Show. Hat tip to him, because he has people, he has sources that were in the crowd on January 6th. So we already know this. $5,000 people, 5,000 agents in the FBI touched this. 40% of all agents being involved in an investigation is unheard of. It's unheard of. They don't normally act like that. Anyway, let's go back to the let's go back to Doge and USAID. They're angry. They're angry because they are concerned that Elon Musk is going to find out their deepest, darkest secrets. They claim USAID to be about aid. That's what they're claiming. They claim that it has a purpose. They claim that, it doesn't amount to but 1% of, government spending. Or actually, I don't even think it is 1% of the government spending, but that's what they keep on claiming, that, it's not important because it doesn't amount to much. And then it's like, okay, so maybe we might be spending on stuff we're not supposed to, but, this is tax dollars, and that's the thing too, because they make these claims, and it's like, dude, wait a second, this is waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, you guys are spending money on stuff you're not supposed to be spending money on. I would much rather see, them spend money on things that they should be, right? Let's go ahead and cut it from the budget. Let's stop doing this crap so that this way, maybe we're not going to have the fraud, the waste, and the abuse, right? This headline from Los Angeles Times. Oh, let me go ahead and clear some stuff up real quick. Clear a few things out. Okay, here we go. This headline from Los Angeles Times. Trump and Musk crippled our most important global aid agency. The consequences are grim. So here we go, a bunch of people who are angry that USAID is uncovering fraud, waste, and abuse. Both my parents lost their job thanks to President Musk. How does this make America great again? Well, see, here's the thing. It's about getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Isn't the U.S. government like the single biggest employer in the nation? They employ more people than Walmart. They employ more people than Amazon. They employ more people than name the company. Walgreens, or I'm sorry, not Walgreens, but Walmart with Sam's Club and all the various Walmart locations and everything that goes into that, truck drivers, people that work in the distribution center, everybody. I mean, Walmart employs a lot of people. The government employs more. When the government is the biggest employee in the nation, that nation has issues. It really does. And my response to these people that are complaining about, losing their job, their family losing their job, this, that, and the other, because Elon Musk dared to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. He dared to put a stop to it. It's the same thing that, they wanted to tell people that were in the oil industry whenever they closed down and stopped land leases and all that stuff. Do you remember what their argument was? Do you remember what they told these people that lost their job? I do. Learn to code. I have no sympathy for these people that are losing their job in government. I really don't. If that makes me a bad person, then so be it. I'll be a bad person. But I'd much rather get rid of the waste, the fraud, and the abuse. Wouldn't you? I know I would. Continuing on. A lot of things that they've been uncovering. The fact of the matter is USAID is a failure. It does not continue with the original purpose that USAID had. They're not doing their job. They've gone beyond that. They've gone to something different. Yeah, it may look good on paper, but the problem is on paper, they don't even dive into where the money is going, who it's going to, the NGOs, the non-government organizations that they fund, whether it be a church, whether it be a housing project, whether it be, this or that organization, they don't tell you what it's being used for and who it's actually going to. All they really tell you on USAID.gov is this is where the money is going to, these different countries, and of which case there is no audit of the system. And that's the thing. I mean, all companies have to go through audits. They all have to, put out there, whether it be for their, their donors, not donors, but, whether it be for their board, whether it be for their, constituents, the people whom spend money at these different locations, that there's an audit that takes place. This is how we're using your money, and it's effective. You don't see that because it's our money that's being spent in USAID at USAID. It's the taxpayer money. Maxine Waters and the like, they're acting like it's their money. No, it's taxpayer dollars. We have the right to know as taxpayers where our money is being spent and how it's being spent, to make sure that it's being spent in a good way, to make sure that it is advancing American interests. Is it advancing American interests to pay for some of the stuff that USAID is paying for? No. And if they can't prove that, then maybe they shouldn't be spending that money. That's what Elon Musk is doing. He's shutting down the flow of money. And see, I got some articles in here about some of the things that USAID has been spending money on. And the more we find out, the more it really looks bad. It really does. This headline from Newsmax.com. And this one is kind of a wow. It really is. And again, like I said earlier, I'm not surprised about this. This doesn't surprise me a little at all. But the headline says Dems used USAID money as payoff to the media. It's been uncovered that they to Politico, to other, of course, left-leaning news organizations they've given money to. Let's see here. Let me see if I can see some kind of a list of what's been uncovered. Oh, yeah. The White House on Monday issued a release titled "At USAID, Waste and Abuse Runs Deep." It lists pet projects of entrenched bureaucrats that include $1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities, $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam, $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, millions to EcoHealth Alliance, which was involved in research at the Wuhan lab. Interesting. Yes, we are finding out that USAID money was used for the research that was done, the gain of function research on the coronavirus over at the Wuhan lab. We are finding this out. This stuff runs deep. It really does. A lot of money was dished out for, subscriptions to Politico, and right after they stopped the payments to these various news organizations, Politico actually announced that we can't make payroll right now. We don't have the money to do that because the government stopped our money coming in. Why are we paying as taxpayers? Why are we paying for subscriptions over to Politico? Why are we paying for news organizations that want to do nothing more than to conceal things? Mainstream media is nothing more than a talking head of the left. I mean, that's all they are. It's the propaganda arm, and we've been paying for propaganda to be pushed out by mainstream media, legacy media. I had a thought the other day. And it was about this very thing. It really was. How would the left feel if instead of shutting it down, he said, okay, you guys are okay with this type of stuff happening instead of paying for left agenda, instead of paying for legacy news media, we're going to be paying for pet projects that Republicans and conservatives had. We're going to be sending money over to Newsmax. We're going to send money over to Dan Bongino and the Dan Bongino Report. We're going to be sending money to these various right-wing news organizations. The Daily Wire. Do you think that they would have the same outrage if it wasn't their pet projects that were being funded by USAID, if it wasn't legacy news media being the propaganda arm of the Democrat Party that was being funded? Do you think they would have the same outrage? No, they wouldn't. They would demand that it be shut down. They would demand a stop to it. They would demand that the books be opened. I mean, you know it. Of course you know it. I mean, that's how the left operates. You can always tell what the left is doing by what they accuse the right of doing. That's what they do. You know, they think that they'll make, they'll make it less obvious maybe if they do that. They think that if they point out or claim that the left is that the right is doing what the left is actually doing, that'll make it irrelevant whenever they get found out. That, oh no, of course this is what they're saying. Politico seems to have received 8 million, with an M, 8 million in funding just from USAID. Taxpayer dollars was sent to these left-wing news organizations to silence you, to censor you, to fill the news cycle with things that are nothing more than propaganda. We've also found some other interesting things. Dan Bongino talked in his show that, promoting his book, Follow the Money, I believe. Talking about how everything is connected. He was talking about how USAID funded the dossier that was used for the impeachment. Simply put, what that means is that USAID participated in a regime change here in the United States. Ladies and gents, that's more than just illegal. They're not supposed to be doing that. It's international, not domestic. The CIA, the FBI, they're not supposed to be doing this. This goes beyond illegal. This goes beyond criminal. This is downright treason. That's what they did to a candidate and to a sitting president. Taxpayer money was used to remove the sitting president from office. I mean, holy crap. I hope that Elon Musk really does dig into this. I hope he finds out where all these payments were going to, and not just where they went to, Because another reason why the left doesn't want this information out is because they don't want the American people to know just how much money and kickbacks they've been receiving. Because, yes, they've been getting kickbacks for every single dollar that goes out to these various organizations, to these various countries. You know that money got kicked back to Congress people, representatives and senators. We know this. I mean, this is how government works. They get kickbacks. Who wanted this money to be spent? And who got a kickback when it was spent? These are the things that, man, I really do hope that Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency is able to find out, not just how much money was spent, where this money went to, how it was spent. I mean, we've seen articles, or at least I've seen articles about, Chelsea Clinton. Some things for her house was at least partially funded by USAID money, taxpayer dollars. They don't want us to see. They don't want us to know. That's why the Democrats are outraged. They're not outraged about the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. Mind you, they're outraged because Elon Musk is in there, somebody who can't be paid, somebody who can't be dissuaded from doing his job, from doing what it is that he's trying to do, somebody that can't be bought. They're mad that he's in there and he's going to spill the beans on everything that's been going on. They're trying to discredit him. They're trying to shame him. They're trying to shut him down. They're trying to bankrupt him. They're trying to do the same thing that they tried to do to Trump. And I hope it doesn't work. I really do. I really do hope that it doesn't work. And, here's the thing, too, because their arguments are invalid, okay? A lot of their arguments, a lot of the things that they're saying is invalid. They're trying to say that he doesn't have the right to view these different records. I mean, look, there's a lot of different ways that information is stored. There's a lot of different data points that you can pull up. Just because you're pulling up a data point about, about an expense, about how money was spent, doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting all the information. Okay. Whenever you work in the shipping department and you get information about, whenever you're getting information about a purchase that somebody made, you're going to get name and you're going to get address. You in the shipping department don't see things like credit card information. It's not in there. It's not available to people in the shipping department. Why? Because it doesn't matter for them to do their job. They don't need that information. All they need to know is that it was purchased. This is who purchased it, and this is where it's going, and it gets shipped out. That's how it's done. Just because he has access to these records doesn't necessarily mean that he has access to private information. And oh yeah, by the way, who cares if he does or if he doesn't? Now, granted, I don't want people just to have access to my private information. However, the government already has access to all your private information. I mean, holy crap. They got their hands in so many different places, and it ain't even funny. They have access to your social security number. It's the government. But don't get me wrong, I just don't want random people having access to my information. But at the same time, Elon Musk, does he really need your bank account information? What's he going to do with it? Hopefully he'll put some money in. That'd be awesome, right? Don't get me wrong. I don't want random people having access to my information. But you know what? When Dorsey owned Twitter, their employees were allowed to see everything. They had full access to everything. All your personal information, all your personal data, everything that they had access to, a very, very large number of their employees also had access to. When Elon Musk exposed that, Were people outraged that that Dorsey and Twitter had access to their personal information, or were they mad and upset because Elon Musk shined a light on what Twitter had been doing? Gee, I think we all know the answer to that one. In time, we're going to find out just how deep the rabbit hole is going. And every single day, we're finding out more and more information. And holy crap, is it ever... Oh, man. Wow. And I'm not surprised. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not surprised. We all knew, at least in some way, shape, or form, that, yes, people in government were getting kickbacks for all this money spent. They knew that it was going back home. We all knew this. I mean, how else can Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in a very short amount of time go from basically a broke bartender to somebody who can afford $1 million dresses? And it wasn't literally overnight, but it happened very quickly. How else do you think this happened? Kickbacks. Because she supported money being paid, and she got rewarded for that support. Would that be considered as bribery? Huh. If so, wouldn't that also be illegal? It's a cesspool over there. The more we're learning, the more outraged the left becomes. We're seeing it in real time. We truly are. They're angry at the fact that somebody they don't control is having access. I mean, they didn't complain whenever China hacked their way in. They didn't seem to have any outrage whatsoever. They didn't seem to care. But Elon Musk goes over there and all of a sudden this is an issue. Why wasn't it an issue whenever China gained access to it? Why isn't the fraud, waste, and abuse an issue? Because it is. Why aren't they outraged about that? The only thing they seem to be outraged about is that the American people are finding out how their tax dollars are being spent. I don't know about you, but I want a full refund. I really do. I didn't consent to this. And if they were so proud of what they were doing, why do they hide it? Right? Why do they hide it? I mean, don't they tell us that if you have nothing to hide, then why would you be upset about an investigation? If you have nothing to hide, then why are you refusing to cooperate? Isn't that what the left tells us all the stinking time? If you ain't got nothing to hide, if you didn't do anything illegal, then why do you care about an investigation going on? Why do you care about this information being drudged up? Why would you care that Elon Musk is digging into the spending habits of USAID? If you ain't got nothing to hide, then why do you care? It's pretty interesting. And there's a lot of articles that are available over there. A lot of articles I got in there. I think I got like, how many articles do I have in there? Like 56, I think. 58, my bad. 58 different stories I have in here regarding all the topics that we're covering. USAID poured hundreds of millions of dollars and sent it to Hamas, paying off various left-leaning news organizations. $8 million in Politico subscriptions paid to taxpayers. Before it was shuttered, USAID routed funds to Soros-aligned causes, terrorists, and drag queens. USAID covered up Ukraine aid with false classification claims. Isn't that something that they went after Trump about? With the shush money that was paid to the porn star? Oh, you misclassified this payment. Why don't they have the same kind of outrage in this case as they did with that one? And one of the things I'm most grateful about in this whole entire thing is that they're shutting it down. They stopped all the payments. It's like, we're done. Before we get this investigated. Before we pay out another dollar in this, we're going to look into it. We're going to see how this money has been spent. And if this money isn't being spent to support American interests, to further the cause, then we're done. Then it's being shut down. We ain't paying for it anymore. And I, for one, as an American taxpayer, I am happy because I'm sick and tired of my money going to places and funding stupid stuff. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I've had enough of the waste, the fraud, the abuse. You know, something I didn't put in the show today, but I might end up talking about it. I don't know just yet. But it's... Oh, wow. Yeah, that just slipped my mind, too. I was reading something. My apologies. Anyway. Fed spent millions studying trans menstruation. Strengthening gay rights in the Balkan database reveals. And our government funded the illegal immigration disaster. USAID paid for the Trump impeachment effort. So many articles in here talking about it. Many of them. And again, I definitely recommend you heading on over there to the HoHoShow.com, clicking on the newsfeed tab, seeing the article over there on Flipboard, and checking out the articles. There's quite a few of them, more than what I can really cover. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I return, we are going to be talking about... We're going to be talking about the impeachment efforts that are already happening, that are already going through, and just how ridiculous this claim is. I mean, you would think they would try to go to, good grief, misdemeanors, high crimes and misdemeanors. You'd think that they would use something like that, but oh no, the claim is way more ridiculous than that. And in which case, we are also going to be talking about immigration. That's also going to be something that we are talking about here in the next segment. So just a couple minutes and I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Sun's beating down on my tractor seat. Dusty road rising, no shade or retreat. Worked up a sweat, Lord, it ain't fair. Now there's a swamp brewing under there. Boots are dragging through the mud all thick. From all this work, the sweat starts to stick. Chafing and burning got a real high cost. Feels like I'm melting, lost in the sauce. Swamp ass blues, oh, it's tough to bear. Sweat soaking through my underwear. I'd take a cool breeze over this damn heat, but it's a life out here in the farmer's seat. Hung my shirt to dry on the old fence post. Try to cool down with the sun still roast. Every step's a battle, this swamp won't quit. Losing the fight in this summer grit. lost my mind, but it's the heat that's making me grind. Buckets of ice won't even come close to drying up this southern coast. Swamp-ass blues, I can't take much more. Might jump in the creek just to restore. Wish for that rain or an autumn breeze to dry these blues and find some peace. Neighbors wave, think I've lost my mind, but it's the heat that's making me grind. Buckets of ice won't even come close to drying up this southern coast. Swamp-ass blues, I can't take much more. Might jump in the creek just to restore. Wish for that rain or an autumn breeze to dry these blues and find some peace.
Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. Man, I tell you what, that time kind of ran down while I was reading something. Holy crap, I hate it whenever that happens. So we're going to start right here with this article out of, let me go ahead and get to it, the Washington Free Beacon. Headline, here we go again. Dem rep files impeachment articles against Trump for dastardly deeds. Oh boy. You know, he's not using high crimes and misdemeanors. He's not using something that he actually did. He's using dastardly deeds. And here's the thing. The deed that he's saying that, you know, as the reason by which he's wanting to impeach Trump isn't even something he did. It's something that he said. So is it really a dastardly deed if it's not something that Donald Trump didn't even do? I don't know. You be the judge. But the headline goes, Representative Al Green, who repeatedly failed to impeach Trump during his first term, tries again over Gaza plan. So Al Green from Texas, he filed articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump over President's proposal to have the United States take over and rebuild Gaza. Now, here's the thing, all right? I want you to understand something. And the examples I'm going to use here is something that we're going to be talking about a little later, dealing with tariffs and you know, what the president is, you know, well, him strong-arming, trying to get Mexico and Canada to do what he wants. He's using this as a negotiating tactic. It's a negotiating tactic. If you've ever been a salesman, if you've ever bought in a car, bought a house, anything like that, you know, there's always negotiations that happen. You never pay full price. You never do. There's always wiggle room. If you're a salesman, you start high, giving you room to go down. If you're buying something, you start low, and then you work your way up. You meet in the middle somewhere. That's how negotiations are done. That's what President Trump has been doing. That's what he's saying. That's what it amounts to. You see, whenever it comes to over in the Middle East and all this other kind of stuff, what President Trump is trying to do is stop the endless wars. That's what he's wanting to do. It's ridiculous. Now look, here's the thing, all right? I'm not one that necessarily agrees with interventionism, okay? I really don't, all right? we've been nation building. We've been trying to, sway political leanings and government whatever for quite some time. And it just doesn't pay. I mean, how often does it really pay off the way that they're saying that it's going to pay off? I mean, how many times did we try to get the Middle East to be, a Democrat nation? They don't want to be a Democrat nation. It doesn't work. Why do we keep doing it? I don't know. Have you heard the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink? We've tried numerous times to force the horse to drink, and it's just not working. We need to stop. We need to stop. And the only reason why this is important is because, as far as and I don't want to say interventionism, but that's kind of what it amounts to. But the only reason why it's important is because they're attacking our allies. They're going after Israel. That's the only reason why it matters. And every single time that they try to get a ceasefire, every single time that they try to, stop the fighting, stop the violence, what happens? Another attack. More rockets being launched from the Gaza Strip. And President Trump has had enough. And I think the rest of the American people have. I mean, if you're a supporter of Israel, if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, even if you're a libertarian, most of them would agree that, if we're going to have allies, we kind of need to, help them out to keep them from getting attacked, to keep them from having rockets shot over there across the border and into their nation. We need to stop, the endless violence. And that's what President Trump is trying to do. He's trying to start negotiations. He's trying to, and here's the thing. This is kind of what it amounts to with Donald Trump. He's crazy enough. He just might do something. He told them people, fix it. If you don't, then I will. And before you cry for the Palestinians, okay, now granted, the Gaza Strip is land that Israel handed over to them quite a while ago. And I think it was back in 2000, I could be wrong on this, but back in 2005, I think I discussed this over on previous shows. I'm not going to reiterate, or rehash all those details, but it was quite some time ago that Israel pulled out completely from the Gaza Strip. And I think it was 2005, 20 years ago. They pulled out of the Gaza Strip completely and handed it entirely over to the Palestinians. And wouldn't you think that the people over there in the Middle East would have something to say about the people of Palestine? You would think that they would, but time and time again, what we hear is none of them want to welcome them people over here. None of them do. Jordan doesn't. Lebanon doesn't. Egypt doesn't. None of them want to welcome the Palestinians over there. Why? Is it because they are a violent, intolerant people? Is it because they are a people that do not want a two-state solution? They want to annihilate? They want to take over? I mean, there's a reason things are the way that they are over in the Gaza Strip. They've received every opportunity to grow, to use their land responsibly. I mean, have you ever seen where the Gaza Strip is located? I mean, they got waterfront property over there. They could be a huge tourism area. But no. They don't choose that. They don't choose to live in harmony with their neighbors. They choose violence, as what was demonstrated on October 7th. Why are none of the neighboring countries interested in welcoming the Palestinians? Because they choose violence. And Donald Trump basically stated that I'm tired of the endless war. I'm tired of the fighting. If the people that are over there aren't going to do anything about it, then I will. It's pretty simple. Does he want to go over there and make peace? No. But he does want the endless war to stop. And the reason that President Trump's negotiating tactics has worked is because everybody thinks that Donald Trump is crazy enough to do it. I mean, think about it. What has he done already? A foreign leader, Donald Trump said, stop. Here's a picture of your house. I'll bomb it. I'll wipe it off the face of the map. With zero collateral damage, he's killed people. He's told them if you harm a head, if you harm the hair on an American citizen's head, there will be consequences. That's why he bombed that guy. Bombed his car. Killed him. He's demonstrated that he's willing to do that. He's demonstrated that we know where they're located at, and he'll take them out. He's crazy enough to do it. Walk softly and carry a big stick. Peace through strength. Isn't that some of the things that we believed in the past? I mean, granted, this is a far cry from, Biden's presidency where it was kneel to everybody because everybody had his number, right? Wow. And that corruption is being weeded out as well, by the way. This is other things that was discovered, with USAID, different payments that were made over to Ukraine. I mean, hello. Or I guess I should say through USAID. But Al Green filing articles of impeachment over dastardly deeds over what Donald Trump said he was going to do at the Gaza Strip. I think that's funny. I really do, because these people don't understand how Donald Trump operates. And you know what? I mean, neither do I. I don't know the man. I really don't. But I see what he does. I see how he manipulates mainstream media. I see how he manipulates the Democrat Party. I see him, just having fun with this. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, what he's doing isn't fun. He's a man on a mission, isn't he? He's a man on a mission. He has an agenda, and he knows that he has to move quick in order to get this done. He has to move quick. He has the people behind him. He won a majority. He won all swing states, all 7 of them. He won them. He won the popular vote. He has a mandate from the people to clean up Washington, to clean up government, to root out the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. He has a mandate to do this. Hopefully he's able to get it done. Hopefully he's able to get it done. We're going to go ahead and move on to this next topic. We are talking about We're talking about the immigration. And we're going to start by talking about birthright citizenship. Now, this is something that I touched base on last week or the week before last. I'm not 100% sure. With birthright citizenship. And something that I had heard not that long ago regarding birthright citizenship. You see, it was a lawyer that wrote this. And the original wording was different than what was actually put in the 14th Amendment, the wordage that was actually used. The original wording was broad. Again, this was written by a lawyer, but the original wording was broad. And of which case, this broad language that was used in the 14th Amendment, it supports both territorial and political jurisdiction. But of course, the new wordage only referred to political jurisdiction. What does that mean? Well, that's the difference between an illegal alien coming over here and spitting out a baby versus, and still having political ties elsewhere because they are not a U.S. citizen. They are a Mexican citizen, and therefore they are beholden to their laws. They are part of, part of Mexico versus somebody whom is an American citizen giving birth to a child here in America. The wordage was changed. The wordage was made more, what's the word I'm looking for? More narrow? More in tune with what the intent was of the author? There's a reason that the language was changed. This headline from the New York Sun: new legal theory nursed by conservative scholars could help Trump topple birthright citizenship for illegal aliens. And that's what he's talking about here in this article. The left, the argument that they're giving, it bears no water. It doesn't hold water. Bears no fruit. They have no legal leg to stand on. They just don't. I mean, their only argument truly is that's just the way it's been done. I mean, that really is their only argument. That's it. That's really all they can say. That's just the way it's been done. But you know what? Just because that's the way it's been done doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it holds true to the original intent. It doesn't mean that it holds true to the actual wording of the 14th Amendment. It doesn't mean just because it's the way that they've always been doing it, that that's the way it should continue to be done because they didn't want it to be done that way. They have no leg to stand on, whether it be a constitutional leg, a legal leg at all. They have no leg to stand on. That's the point. They got no leg to stand on. And they know it. I mean, don't they know it? A lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans would want you to believe, or maybe they want to believe, that Democrats are just stupid. I mean, I know I'd like to believe that. But I don't think they all are. I think they know full well what the Constitution says. I think they know full well that that it's not within their power to do this, and that Donald Trump has every right to enforce the 14th Amendment in this way because that's the way the 14th Amendment was supposed to be enforced. They all know this. But again, they were able to pull the wool over the American people's eyes. And the people, unfortunately, in a lot of cases, with a lot of people, are too ignorant to know any better. And that's something that we're actually going to talk about a little later in the episode, talking about the next department that may be on the chopping block of Doge. There's a reason that our education system isn't about education, but it's about indoctrination. There's a reason that the left has been able to get away with a lot of the things they've been able to get away with because the American people don't know any better. Too many of the American people just believe what the government tells them. It's unfortunate, but it's true. And like I said, we'll talk about that later. We'll get into it. But Donald Trump is well within his right to enforce the 14th Amendment in this way, to continue to enforce immigration law the way that he's doing. Because it is law that he's enforcing. I mean, these are laws that he vowed in his oath of affirmation. He vowed to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, taking the obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. He didn't go into the office and say, hey, look, I know I just said an oath saying that I'm going to uphold the Constitution. However, I've made the decision myself that I'm going to ignore it. He didn't say that. No, he did not. He's going to uphold it. He's going to hold these people accountable. He's going to send them back home. He's going to send them to Guantanamo Bay. That's what he's been doing. Guantanamo Bay, yeah. Ah, dadgummit. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, I'm looking for, okay. I just shut down an article. I did not mean to do that. Okay. Oh, well, that's a video. Okay, well, never mind. That's the one I wanted to get rid of. All right, so this headline, we're moving on. We're still in the immigration aspect of it. But one of the things that we're seeing from these sanctuary cities, one of these things that we're seeing from places like New Jersey, from New York, from California, what we're seeing from Illinois are governors and mayors whom have vowed to hinder, to stop, to put an end to ICE doing their job. That's what we've been seeing. And one of the things I noted a while back ago in previous episodes is that if we are going to see anything change in Washington, if we're going to see the Democrats stop with what they're doing, then we need to start holding them accountable. We need to demand from our representatives, demand from the Republicans up there in Washington, demand that, you know what, you stop with the investigations, because I don't care if they do one more stinking investigation. I really don't. I don't care. I don't want to see one more investigation if it's not going to lead to somebody's arrest. I don't want to see it. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. It really is. It's a complete waste of time. If you ain't going to hold anybody accountable, then stop. I don't want to see my tax dollars being wasted in that way. Is it nice that we actually know? Is it nice that we can't just have our head buried in the sand? Yeah, it's nice. But again, if nobody's going to be held accountable, then what's the point? You know, if you kill somebody and they do an investigation, there's going to be a prosecution if they find out that there's enough evidence to support your indictment, to support the charges. You're going to go to trial. Numerous times during different investigations that they've done, they've uncovered illegal activity that happened. Criminal activity. Has anything happened? No. Did anything happen to Biden? No. Did anything happen to Hillary Clinton? No. Why did they waste their time doing the investigations if they weren't going to actually hold anybody accountable? And they wonder why the Democrats continue to do bad shit. You ain't going to stop the behavior until you start sending people to jail, period. Bottom line, end of story. That's all there is to it. Let's hold these people accountable for what they're doing. That's what we need to do. Hold them accountable. You're not going to change their activity. You're not going to change what they do until you hold people accountable. Because you know what you keep telling these people? Parents out there, let me ask you a question. Now, look, I'm not judging how you raise your kid. I ain't judging. But there are kids out there that, I'm disappointed in you. You did something I don't like. You did something I don't agree with. You did wrong. I'm disappointed in you. There are some kids out there that works. And of which case, if you have one of those children and that's how you choose to discipline them, and then more power to you. You found a method that works. Some children don't care if you're disappointed in them. They're going to continue to do it. Some kids, you got to put them in timeout. And if that's a method that works for you, that works for your child, that actually, gets them to change their behavior, then again, more power to you. But sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you got to lay hands on them. Sometimes it's best just to be a Christian. Psh, a 5-finger high five to the face. That's what you got to do. Or the butt, whichever. I'm not talking abuse. I'm talking discipline. Some people need to associate doing bad things with pain because that's all they understand. I know I was one of those kids. I was. I'm sure some of you out there were the same. That your parents being disappointed in you wasn't enough. That the punishment of timeout wasn't enough. It took corporal punishment for you to associate doing bad things with pain in order for you to change your behavior. Some people, that's what it takes. We've been telling them we're disappointed. It's not working. We don't even have the intestinal fortitude to put them in timeout. Don't we keep electing these people into office? These various representatives and senators? Because, yeah, we do. Might I remind you, back in 2012, that Congress had a 4% approval rating. And somehow, over 80% of them, like over 90% of them, got elected back into office. So we didn't even put them in timeout. It's high time we start laying hands. A little bit of corporal punishment goes a long way. That's what we need to do. How else are we going to change their behavior? They're going to keep doing it as long as we keep letting them get away with it. Because that's what it amounts to. We are letting them get away. We are not holding our representatives accountable because we are governed, or they govern through the consent of the governed. It's our government. It's not theirs. Might I remind you the first 3 words of the Constitution? We the people. It's our government. It ain't theirs. We have freedoms that go beyond the size and scope of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution as per the 9th and 10th Amendment. Hello? Have you never read the 9th Amendment? Let me go ahead and whip out my handy-dandy pocket Constitution. Amendments, 9th Amendment. Let's see, I believe that's IX. Where's it at? Oh, that's not it. Where is the 9th Amendment? Okay, 9. I can do this. Oh, that's 15. Okay, no wonder why. Wow, I forgot how to read Roman numerals there for a second. I really did. All right, 9th Amendment. So, all right, you know what? I'm getting old. Oops. I'm getting old. I really am. couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago now, I had to go to the eye doctor because, I needed contacts. I could still see, pretty good with my contacts and my current prescription eyeglass prescription. But I knew that it was off. I knew that I needed to go and get it updated, and I went and I got it updated, and it went up it went up a quarter of a point. It went from negative 3.75 to negative 4.0. And unfortunately, whenever I got my new prescription, I lost the ability to read things clearly. I even had to call up mom and be like, hey, you know what? Karma just bit me in the ass. She's like, oh, yeah, how did that happen? And I told her, because when I was younger, when my dad was still alive, I used to make fun of him because he got bifocal glasses to where he could read things with his glasses. Whenever he was reading things, he still decided to take off his glasses and put it like right there next to his face. And I used to make fun of him from it. I used to make fun of him. I was like, that's kind of, you got bifocals, Dad. Why don't you use them? And here, now I am. Now I need reading glasses and I need bifocals. I got the reading glasses. I didn't get the bifocals this time around because at the time I didn't know I needed them. Anyway, had to put my reading glasses on. Ninth Amendment. Let's go ahead and read that. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. We have more. Oh, maybe. No. And then you got the 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. You have more rights than what are listed in the Constitution, in the Bill of Rights. And as long as the Constitution does not restrict that right to the states or the people, that's where that power belongs. The Constitution puts limitations to the government and rights to the people. That's what it grants. The Constitution doesn't give the government the right or the ability to be your daddy, to be your mom, to be your parent. It doesn't give it the right or the power or the ability to do that. It doesn't. But yet that's the role that the government seems to have taken. It's not their right. It's not their power. They ain't got the ability to do that. But yet what you have seen for years has been a severe overreach of the power that was given to the federal government. It's high time they're reminded that, look, you don't have that power. I take it back. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. But we need to do more than just call out corruption, because calling out corruption hasn't worked. We need to hold them accountable to their actions. There's already laws in place that says you can't do this. There's already statutes. There's already limitations. And what the government's been doing is not right. And people need to go to jail. People need to be held accountable. Period. It's not that hard. It's pretty freaking simple. It's not going to be easy. Lifting an engine out of a car isn't easy. But when you have the right tools, it's simple. I don't know what that is. Okay, there we go. And if these people, if these mayors, if these governors who want to hide behind sanctuary cities, then something needs to happen. Trump administration has already told places like Chicago that we're disappointed in you. This headline from Book Club Chicago: Trump administration sues Chicago, Cook County, and Illinois over sanctuary policies. Yeah, we need to put an end to sanctuary policies. You want to know why we need to put an end to it? Because they're illegal. When Governor Pritzker when the governor of New York, when the governor of New Jersey, whenever they stand between illegal aliens and ICE from doing their job, that is called aiding and abetting. It is illegal. It's illegal. Headline from the Washington Examiner: Pritzker vows to fight Trump over migrant sanctuary policies. I have another article in here as well. Let me find that one. Yeah, here we go. This is the one I was looking for. This headline from National Review. Border czar Tom Homan suggests prosecuting New Jersey governor for sheltering illegal immigrant. I also heard a story about how somebody in the administration warned Colorado illegal aliens that ICE was coming. And whenever ICE showed up, nobody was there. When these governors stand in the way of ICE doing their job, when they stand in the way and stand on the principle that nobody is illegal, that's called aiding and abetting. This is a crime. You can't shelter criminals. And that's exactly what they are. When they decided to cross the border illegally, it's criminal. I mean, you can throw the argument out there that, oh, well, it's not a federal offense, it's a misdemeanor. Well, it's still a crime, isn't it? You're still harboring a criminal, aren't you? You're still protecting a criminal from charges, aren't you? Isn't that still what you're doing? So regardless of what paintbrush you want to use, it still doesn't change the fact that you're protecting a criminal. I don't care if it's a federal crime. I don't care if it's a misdemeanor. It's still illegal. You're supposed to go through, file for asylum, or go through what's the term? Points of entry. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. If you don't do that, then it's illegal. And it's high time these people whom are blatantly and obviously going against the Constitution, going against federal law, it is high time that these governors, these mayors be held accountable, because sanctuary city isn't a thing. They have no right. I don't care what their Constitution says. They have no right. I don't care what laws they have in place. They have no law to supersede the Constitution. It is the supreme law of the land. That's what it means. That's the supremacy clause of the Constitution. Our immigration laws need to be enforced. And these people need to be thrown in jail for violating that, for harboring criminals, because that's what they're doing. And boy, howdy, do I ever hope that Tom Homan actually follows through. I really do. Because I tell you what, it's only going to take one. That's the thing. It's only going to take one. That's all it's going to take. And really, you should start with Chicago. Just going to throw that out there. You should start with Chicago. I mean, hey, I'm an Illinois resident. You know, we have a tradition to uphold here in Illinois. Our governors go to jail. That's where they go. We've had several of them go to jail. And J.B. Pritzker has already done stuff that's illegal. I mean, he has. He's been caught red-handed. For some reason, these stupid people here in this state, they keep voting for him in office. I don't know why. I didn't vote for the man, but they still keep voting. You know, goodness gracious. I hope they start with Chicago. I hope they start with J.B. Pritzker. And, you know, I wasn't intending on doing this, on using this language. So if you have kids in the room, you know, just kind of plug their ears a little bit. All right. It's high time we enter the find out stage after they fuck around. You know, isn't that the moniker of Gen X? Fuck around, find out. I'll use the terms. I don't care. Sue me. They've been fucking around. It's high time they find out. Send them to jail. Make an example of somebody. Make an example of J.B. Pritzker. Make an example, and I tell you what, all the other ones are going to fall in line quickly. They're all going to fall in line quickly. It's only going to take one. That's it. Just one. They want to mess around. It's high time they find out what happens. They're going against the will of the people. They're breaking the law. They're going against the Constitution. You know, I remember whenever Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was I think she was even talking to Tom Homan, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. But I think it was Tom Homan who was speaking during this questioning, congressional questioning, whatever was going on. I don't remember. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was all mad about Tom Homan on how they were enforcing the law, that they were enforcing the law. And Tom Homan shot back. He's like, look, I'm doing my job. I'm enforcing the law as written. If you have a problem with that, maybe you should do your job and change the law. And whenever he said, I was, oh, speak it, brother. Call it how it is. Don't go to him for how he is enforcing the law whenever all you need to do is rewrite it. Put in the legal statutes different ways that the law should be enforced. Did they do that? No. Did Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez immediately or anytime thereafter put in a bill, co-sponsor a bill to change the enforcement of our immigration laws? No. Instead, the only thing they wanted to cry about was amnesty. Oh, we can't hold them accountable. We can't deport them. No person is illegal. Seriously? Is that why you got sent to Congress? Well, maybe it is in her district. But that's not what they're supposed to be about. They write the laws. They write how these laws are supposed to be enforced. It's up to ICE, police officers, sheriffs. It's up to them to enforce it. How the law says it's supposed to be enforced. So I hope he follows through. I really do. I hope there is all kinds of follow through. I really do. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. And in the next segment, we are going to be talking about tariffs. And we are also going to be talking about the next department that may be on the chopping block. We're going to be talking about that as well. So just a couple minutes and I will be right back. I got to find, let's do this ridiculous song. All right, just a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
Alarm clock rings like a wild hurricane. Eyes half open, I'm feeling the strain. Stumble out of bed, it's another new day. What's my routine? What's the best way? First the shirt, then button it tight. Mirror reflection looking just right. Should I go sock, sock, shoe, shoe now? Or break the rules and mix it up somehow? Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Does it matter in the morning light when your day's gonna be alright? Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Does it matter in the morning light when your day's gonna be alright? to my end. Coffee brewing, let the day begin. Brush my teeth, yeah, I start to grin. Choices we make, let the fun spin. It's the little things that brighten up your day, the quirks and routines in a special way. Whether you choose to go left or right, it all comes down to feeling just right. Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Doesn't matter in the morning light, when your day's gonna be alright. Do you do sock, sock, shoe, shoe? Or sock, shoe too? Doesn't matter in the morning light, when your day's gonna be alright.
Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you? Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, and we are back. So we're going to be talking about tariffs and the Department of Education. Now, first of all, let's be honest and let's be real about what a tariff is. Yes, it's a tax. Because, of course, the tariffs are, just like in corporate taxes, these tariffs are going to be downstream, and it's going to be the consumer that's actually going to be paying these. Absolutely, yes, they are. But what else are these tariffs going to do? You see, here's the problem. All right, this is the problem that Donald Trump is trying to solve. Everything that he does is about solving a problem. It's about promoting American interests. Let's be honest and let's be real. That's what Donald Trump is doing. He is trying to defend American interests, both at home and abroad. And that's why he's doing this. It is a negotiation tactic. That's what it is. He's threatening and crazy enough to follow through various countries that, hey, look, if you're going to FO, you're about to FO. If you're going to FA, you're about to FO. Wow, that came out horrible. English, do you speak it? Nope, apparently not. This is what we have been seeing time and time again. Okay? And this is because we have poor leadership in this country. We have poor leadership that really don't care about America. They're more globalists than nationalists. That's what the whole thing amounts to. So what we've been seeing in the past is that, we import goods from other countries. And through USAID and others, we fund it. We subsidize these various countries. But we import their products. We import products from Mexico, from Canada, from Taiwan, from Japan, from China. But we also export things to them as well. And whenever we import it, previously we've not been putting tariffs on it. I mean, that's been the way it's been done for quite some time, is that, we don't put tariffs on that. Why? Because we have this trade agreement with them. Whatever. But we also export goods to these various countries as well. And what happens is, like with Canada, I'm sorry, not necessarily Canada, well, Canada too. And especially with China, is that they put tariffs on our goods. Now, they may not call it tariffs. They may call it a value-added tax. But it's big. It's a big value-added tax. It's a big tariff, because let's face it, that's what it is. It's a tariff. It's an added tax that is put on the goods that we export to China. That's what China puts on it, is a tax. And it's so high, people in their own country, they really can't afford it, except for people that are, wealthy enough to actually do so. And they do this because they are protecting domestic interests. Because the Chinese Communist Party, they want to, they want Chinese people to buy goods made in China because they want to support domestic business. That's what they want to do. I mean, isn't that what every nation wants to do? Well, apparently not America. But that's what happens. We know this is happening. We know this is what's going on. This has been going on for quite some time. What President Donald Trump is trying to do fair trade. He wants to be able to import from these other countries to benefit Americans. But he also wants to promote American business, American industry, the American worker. But in order to do that, he needs to put an end to the way trade has been done in the past, allowing these other countries who want to cry about whether tariffs are put on their products, all the while putting huge tariffs on ours, making it to where their own citizens can't buy our products, putting a halt to it. That's what the whole point of these tariffs are. Trump wants fair trade. But in order for it to be fair trade, it's got to be fair. If you're going to put a tariff or an additional tax on our products, then we're going to do the same to you. Period. End of story. That's the only fair way to do it. Isn't that fair? Isn't that what these Democrats keep crying about? Is, oh, we want fair. Oh, boo-hoo. We want fair. Really? Then let's have fairness. But that's not what we've been seeing. Instead, we see the American worker getting shit on by all these various countries, and America has not done anything about it. Our leadership has failed in promoting American business, American industry. That's how it's been happening. They're perfectly okay with sending goods and services, sending goods over here and us not tariffing them, but yet not putting any tariffs on theirs whenever they tariff the crap out of ours, because that's what's been going on. Other countries tariff the crap out of us, and we don't do anything about it. It's not fair trade, and that's what Donald Trump wants to happen. He wants to bring about fair trade. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Absolutely. If you're going to tariff our goods, if you're going to put a value-added tax on our goods that we send over there, then we are going to do the same to you. But it goes beyond that, doesn't it? It goes beyond that because, not only is it about free and fair trade, fair trade, but it's also about protecting American interests. See, over at the southern border, we've been having a problem. I don't know if you all are aware of this, but we've been having a huge problem with people just all willy-nilly crossing the southern border. I mean, our own government is very guilty of promoting this, allowing it to happen, not allowing ICE officers to do their job, but it's also been helped and perpetrated by Mexico. The cartels are more in control of our southern border than what we are. Now, granted, okay, so the American people don't want American troops down at the border. Well, tough, because that's part of what the military's job is to defend the borders of the United States of America. But beside that, okay, fine. So Donald Trump told Mexico, look, we want your help on the border. We want to stop the flow of fentanyl. We want to stop the flow of illegal aliens. We want to stop the flow of criminals crossing the border and coming into the United States. And Mexico government was just like, so, deal with it. You don't like it, tough. What do you want me to do? Well, put some people on the border. Stop the flow. Stay in Mexico. That's what I want you to do. I ain't doing any of that. Oh, you're not? Nah. Okay, fine. Tariffs. I object. Okay. And because Trump knew what would happen if Mexico helped to stop the illegal flow of both drugs and people, that they would just go up to Canada and try crossing over there. And so he basically said the same thing to Canada. Now with Canada, it goes a little bit beyond just stopping the flow of drugs and illegals. It was also about, hey, we export up there, no tariffs, and you export down here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You export down here, no tariffs. We export up to there, and you put tariffs on your goods because you are wanting to promote foreign business, or you're wanting to support domestic business. We don't really like that. This isn't fair trade. We want it to be fair trade. So it's kind of two birds with one stone. And I can actually attest to this. Okay, I'm a truck driver. I used to take stuff across the border, across the northern border. I've been into 5 different provinces up in Canada. I've been in Alberta. I've been in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. So I've been to 5 different provinces up there in Canada. And Canada really doesn't like foreign businesses to go up and do business in Canada because they're all about protecting their own interests. And I've got nothing against that. I really don't. But whenever they're going to tariff our things and tax our things, then we should be doing the same to them. And they don't like that. But there's a reason why Trump knew that this threat would work. And of course, if they didn't, acquiesce, if they didn't give in, then President Trump is crazy enough to follow through with it. Of course he is. But I know I'm going to be wrong on the numbers here, so I'm not even going to try. But let's just say that Mexico and Canada need us far more than we need them. We don't export much to Canada and Mexico in comparison to how much they export to us. Like 80%, I think, of Mexico. 80% of products produced in Mexico gets imported over here into the United States. If we tariff it, if we shut it down, that's going to cripple Mexico. And as I've heard pointed out, if any company loses 80% of its business, it's going to go under. Period. I mean, no company can survive that, can they? So President Trump knew that he had the upper hand. He had all negotiating powers in the world. He had it all. Now, yeah, they whined, they cried, they threw a fit. Absolutely they did. Both Mexico and Canada. They both threw a fit. They're like, oh, we're not going to take this. They did the song, "We're not going to take it." No! They whined and they cried. But in the end, what happened? What did both Mexico and Canada do? They gave in. Absolutely they did. Why? Because they knew that they didn't have the upper hand. They knew that it wasn't going to take long after these tariffs were put into place for them to lose everything. That it would cripple their economy and it would be next to impossible to dig themselves back out of the hole. These tariffs never even got put in place before they gave in. And they did give in. Both of them. Mexico and Canada gave in. 50 some odd thousand Mexican troops are being posted at the border to stop the illegal flow, to stop the flow of fentanyl, of illegal aliens. Canada has also said that they will do their part to stop the flow, to not allow the flow to even happen in the first place. Because again, like I said, President Trump is under the understanding, is under the idea that if the Mexican border is closed, then they'll just try to go up to the Canadian border and cross down that direction. This headline from the Daily Signal. Trump's tariff diplomacy is working. And it is. He knew that they needed us far more than we needed them. He knew that he had the upper hand in negotiations. And if they were going to FA, they were going to FO. Trump was using it as a negotiating tactic. But it wasn't just a tactic, because I think we all know that Trump has demonstrated at least enough that he's crazy enough to follow through. You know, I mean, what did they all say? That, oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to cripple the American economy. You're going to drive inflation through the roof and this, that, and the other. And Donald Trump was like, you know what? Sit down, shut up, and wait, and let's just see what happens. Trump was right. What happened before the tariffs were even instated, before the tariffs even began, before he had to follow through with his threat? What happened? They gave in. They gave in. He didn't have to follow through because they knew. You know what actually cracks me up, and this really does. This definitely cracks me up. Is that this is what the left asked for. It really is. And I almost have to thank what the Democrats have done in the past. I almost have to I know that sounds horrible. It really does. But I almost got to thank them for what they've done. I almost have to thank them for all the attacks, for the dossier and the illegal wiretaps and the illegal investigation over the illegal FISA report, you know, and FISA warrants. I have to thank them for what they did. I have to thank them for stealing the election in 2020. I have to thank them for the investigations, for the lawfare that was used against Donald Trump. I have to almost thank the left for how they have treated not just Trump, but his entire administration. Like Mike Flynn. Like Rubio. I have to thank the left for how they have treated Trump and his administration. Why? Because if it wasn't for that, we may not have seen the Trump we see today. Because as soon as he took the oath, President Trump came in like a wrecking ball. He did. He came in like a wrecking ball, didn't he? I need that song. Never mind. I don't need that song. He came in like a wrecking ball. He came in with the ferocity. He came in truly believing. You know, just as the Blues Brothers said, they are on a mission from God. Because Trump believes that during that assassination attempt, his life was spared so that he can do the very thing he's trying to do now. Now, look, I'm not calling Trump a messiah. I'm not calling him, a disciple. I'm not calling him a prophet. But I am going to say the man he's acting like he is on a mission. He has a plan. He has a job to do, and he's going to do it. He believes that his life was spared so that he can make America great again. Now, granted, look, man, and I want to be clear on this. I really do. I want to be clear on this. With everything Trump does, I want to be completely and utterly clear on this. I'm not a blind follower of everything that he does. I don't agree with him 100% on his policies. I don't. I really don't. I don't think of him as a Messiah. I don't think of him as a second coming. I don't think of him as a prophet. I don't think of him as the voice or the hand of the Lord. I don't. I know better. He's a man. Flawed and damaged just like the rest of us. He's just a man. I am not going to, nor should you, nor should anybody blindly follow what he does. Yes, I'm going to be holding a microscope to what the left is doing. Yes, I'm going to come out here on this microphone every single week and point out what's going on, what they're doing. But you know what I'm also going to be paying attention to? What Trump is doing. And if he does something unconstitutional, if he steps over that line, if he violates his oath of office, you know what? I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to hold him accountable. I'm not going to let it slide just because he may be doing something I agree with. So far, everything I've seen President Trump do in his administration, Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, everything I've been seeing them do, I agree with, but not only do I agree with it, there's a constitutional base for him to do it. There is. Something I want to point out that I didn't point out earlier, and I really should have. Because one of the arguments that the left has, now this is in regards to USAID, but one of the arguments the left has is that USAID was created by Congress. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. They're flat lying to you. USAID was not created by Congress. Congress passed a law, but that law didn't create USAID. USAID was created by JFK to fill the need of that law that Congress wrote. There's a difference. And he created it through an executive order. Now, as we've already found out, as has already been demonstrated, as should already be clear to each and every one of you, that what one president writes as an executive order can be taken away by the next president. And if Congress felt so strongly about USAID and their mission and what they did, then they would have codified it into law. But the government never did. Congress never did write a law supporting the making of USAID. They never did. It was written by JFK to fulfill the law that was written, but it wasn't built, it wasn't made, it wasn't established by Congress. It was established by the sitting president at the time. And a president can take it away. He has the power and the legal authority to do so. Furthermore, Elon Musk and the rest of Doge has the ability to go in there and go through their books. They've been given that authority by Donald Trump, again, through an executive order. They have no legal leg to stand on. Again, as I stated before, they have no leg to stand on. They're trying to say that, oh, he doesn't have the right to go through the books. He doesn't have the right to go through this. He doesn't have a right to uncover our fraud, to uncover how they have been extorting the American people. Oh, but he does. Because President Trump is the executor, the head of the executive branch. Everything that the executive branch does is subject to him. No, Congress didn't establish the Doge. They don't have to. If it's a power and authority that the president has, then he can give that power. He can hand it over, temporary or otherwise, to somebody else. And he chose to hand that power and authority of oversight of, the head of it, in the hopes to root out fraud, waste, abuse. He handed it over to Elon Musk and Doge. He had the right to do so. Full, legal, constitutional right to do so. Yeah, Congress has oversight authority. Absolutely. But what they're saying, okay, here's what they're saying, okay? That's like a store manager. We'll keep it to a local level. We're not going to, with the, corporate structure of the business, okay? This basically equates to this. The store manager hiring an outside agency to investigate criminal activity by a department manager, and the department manager being pissed and saying that, oh, you don't have the right to do this. Yeah, they do. Because they were given that authority to do this by the store manager. So yeah, they have the right to do this. If the store manager can do it, store manager gives that authority to an outside company, they have the right. The less arguments are invalid about the whole personal information. It's not how it works. They know this, but they're just trying to scare you. And that's what it amounts to. The left has been messing around. They have been treating your money as if it is their own. They've been treating government as their own personal checkbook. They've been doing things to promote themselves and their agenda. sabotaging American interests not only abroad but here at home as well. They've been caught. Their activity is being revealed. Elon Musk and Doge, they're shining a big old honking spotlight on their activity. And the left is furious. They're not furious about the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. They're furious because Elon Musk is shining the light in there and making the American people, informing us of what's been going on. It's been going on for quite some time. It has been. So that's all I got for you today. That is it. That's the show. Quite a bit to cover today. Holy crap. So I did some, I've been telling you for some time, for a few weeks now, that I'm going to, do some work to the website. The whole thing, all of them, to WSPradio.com, to the HoHoShow.com, BlackMirrorPodcast.com, to HoHoStudios.com. I did work to all of it, every single last bit of it. I got it done. I got it finished. It didn't take me that terribly long. And, fortunately, it didn't take me that terribly long. I was able to, figure it out and, kind of speed the process along in quite a few different ways. And so, yeah, it's finished. It's been updated, just kind of how the site works in general, nothing major that was done. I mean, all the same information and whatnot is in there. I have a lot of work to do still on HoHoStudios.com. I kind of got it started, but I never actually finished it. So don't go there. Don't take a look at that. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. And I'm actually considering buying another website and, making Substack, the WSP Chronicles over there on Substack. I'm looking to make that its own website, buying a .com for it. I don't know exactly if I am, how I feel about that. I don't know, but that's just an idea that I've had. And of course, you can check out the WSP Chronicles by following the link somewhere. It's the link.thehohoshow.com/Substack. That'll take you right over to WSPChronicles.substack.com, which I think is what the URL technically is right now, or substack.com/WSP Chronicles. Whichever. I think both will take it to the same place. I don't know. But at any rate, that's all I got for y'all today. I do thank you very much for stopping by, and I thank you very much for putting the time in by letting me be part of your day. That is awesome. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all have yourself a good one, and I'll see you next week. This has been The HoHo Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is STINKPIKLE.com. Until next time.